in hopes that the judge will work with us to do what he said that he wants to do. Pretty simply, keep the Justice Department non-political and nonpartisan and apolitical. Judge Garland, as I said in his hearing, is an honorable man. He says he wants to follow the law, nothing more and nothing less. I believe that is what he said he wants to do. His career of faithful public service, I think, means I owe him a chance to just do exactly what he said. But he has his work cut out for him. During the campaign, President Biden said that his administration would be the most progressive in history. I'm afraid that might be right. It'll be up to Judge Garland to stand up to efforts to turn the Justice Department into an arm of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, as happened under President Obama. So I will back this up with some statistics and things coming before the judge as Attorney General. First, the Durham investigation. We covered the investigation a lot at Judge Garland's hearing and in written questions. While Judge Garland has consistently said that he has no preconceived notions on Durham, he has, unfortunately, refused to give the same commitment on Durham that Barr gave on the Mueller investigations. In written questions as well, he has refused to explain what standard exactly he would apply to evaluate Durham and failed to give the kinds of easy commitment that Barr gave to this committee. What he has told us, though, is that in spite of these failures to commit, he expects that he will allow Durham to proceed. I take Judge Garland at his word that he will, in fact, allow Durham to proceed. I will also put him on notice this way. Because of his repeated failures to commit to protect Durham, any actions taken to end, cover up, or otherwise undermine the Durham investigation should be interpreted as premeditated and political. If Durham is sidelined, that will be the only explanation for Judge Garland's consistent refusal to answer like Barr did on Mueller. As I said, I believe Judge Garland is an honorable man, so I expect that that will not happen, but his credibility is on the line. Second, on religious liberty, Judge Garland spoke movingly of his family seeking refuge in the United States while fleeing anti-Semitism. Like Judge Starr told our committee at the hearing, I trust that he understands the importance of religious liberty. By voting for Judge Garland, I'm expressing confidence in his willingness to take those rights seriously. I asked him many written questions about religious liberty and was satisfied that a Justice Department run by Attorney General Garland will protect religious liberty as the broad first freedom envisioned by our founders and not marginalize it as a backwards lifestyle preference as envisioned by a lot of progressive radicals. On the subject of the right to bear arms, I'll be frank. Judge Garland's answers on the right to bear arms have not been encouraging. During his hearing, he said he'd faithfully enact President Biden's gun-grabbing agenda. I hope he will stand up for the independence of the Justice Department and follow the law when President Biden instructs him to violate the Second Amendment. If he doesn't, I expect the courts will have something to say about that issue. On the subject of litigation positions, if Judge Garland really wants to show us that he's the next Ed Levy and not the next Eric Holder, he should pay close attention to positions the Justice Department takes on litigation. Just because the Trump Justice Department took a position doesn't mean that that position was wrong. If every 4 or 8 years the Justice Department comes up with a new list of statutes it won't defend or rights it disfavors, what's the point then in passing laws? I hope that Judge Garland, thinking back on his long judicial experience, will preserve the institutional credibility of the Justice Department. It's a similar issue with prosecutorial discretion. Just because a prosecutor has discretion in how to charge and how to try a case doesn't mean the Attorney General has discretion in how to charge and try all cases in ways that change the law. We saw this with DACA under Obama. I'm concerned we'll see this in the death penalty and the illegal entry under Biden. The role of the president is to take care that the laws be followed. And of course, this applies to the Attorney General. The Attorney General doesn't get to use principles of discretion to change the law, however much he or she might want to do that. Then on the subject of slush funds, I think I brought this up in some discussions, either privately or publicly, with the Attorney General nominee. When the Justice Department enters into a settlement with a bad actor, the money should go to the victims and the U.S. Treasury. Given that money to third parties, especially those Congress has defunded, is a direct assault on the appropriations process. I frankly can't see any good reason why the Justice Department would rescind the existing regulations on this subject. Any effort to change these settlements will be pure and open political favoritism. I could go on. There's a sue and settle issue, government by blog post with guidance documents, abusive consent decrees, defending IRS targeting, Operation Choke Point. Democrats have collective amnesia on the scandal a day at the Obama Justice Department, during which it was almost always punishing Obama's political enemies. What do all these practices have in common? The practices I just listed. Besides being partisan and political, they're an effort to do an end run around the Congress. If Judge Garland is serious about having a nonpartisan Justice Department, and I think he is, then he will nip these bad practices in the bud. He will enforce the law. He will not manipulate the powers of the executive to make the law more satisfying to progressive activists. Judge Garland, if he's serious about what he told us, has a big job ahead of it. He will be under tremendous pressure from within the administration, and particularly from pressure from congressional Democrats to turn the Justice Department into Mark Elias and the ACLU and do it with each of them having guns. It'll be up to him to keep the Justice Department from turning into the social justice department. I take him at his word that this is not what he wants and that his occasional evasions were in good faith. I plan to vote for him. I hope that my trust is not misplaced. Yield.
Thank you.